Hey everybody, welcome back. It is February 12th, 2023. It is Super Bowl for everybody that lives inside the country. It's Super Bowl night, and I was wondering, how bad is this going to be during Super Bowl, the speed of StarLink? So I'm at home right now. We don't have anything planned. A couple things, just so everybody knows, I am located, we're for 6 months in right now, having had Starlink for 6 months. I'm in Northwest Georgia, Georgia, the state in the southern U.S. Because I always get that question a lot. So I'm in Georgia. I've had it for 6 months. Starlink. I do these speed tests every 2-3 weeks. You can go through. I have a playlist. You can go through and check to see how it's gotten faster over the time. Now, a lot of stuff has happened in the last couple of weeks here. First of all, Starlink, starting in December 1st, they got their launch license for the next series of satellites. So they have something like 3,000 in the base structure, right? They have 3,000 satellites, and they started putting up satellites now, and they're launching every week and a half. They're going into what they call the fifth shell, which is up to 12,000 more satellites. So, and something really interesting this past week, just a couple days ago, they fired up. They did a static fire for Starship. Starship is not what they've been using. Starship is their new experimental one that's going to take people to Mars one day and the moon one day. But right now, what they're going to do with it first is start launching Starlink satellites. Well, the difference is, or the big thing about that is the fact that right now they're being launched on their Falcon 9 rocket, which holds right around 56, 57 satellites. Starship is going to hold right around 400 satellites, and so it'll be launching a lot. We probably won't see normal launches until next year sometime, but at least we're getting close. So here's what I'm going to do. I do a series of 3 tests, and right now it's 6:04 p.m. So I do a series of 3 tests, and then wait an hour and a half, something like that. I'm probably going to do them once an hour because the Super Bowl, I'm kind of curious. So I usually do them once an hour. And 6:04. So the first test here, it's looking really nice, 53 millisecond ping, and I have my laptop. This is on my laptop right now. My laptop, I'm about 8 feet, not even that. I'm about 6 feet away from the router here, so I don't have to worry about any signal loss. So we are sitting here at 53 milliseconds ping, 53.71 megabit per second download, and I didn't actually catch the upload before I just hit it, but and I always use the Sparklight server in Atlanta because, like I said, I'm north and west of Atlanta. It actually works pretty good. It's only, I forget, I did a ping to it. I'm not too far away anyhow. And we're looking pretty consistent tonight already. This is good because this is already kind of in peak time, and Sunday is the slowest day. Just so everybody knows, in case you're wondering, Sunday is always the slowest day, especially Sunday night. Now we're at 6 o'clock, so we're still in peak prime time right now. By the way, this is 36 milliseconds is the ping, 72.3 megabit per second download, 7.57 megabit per second upload. By the way, the ping is how long it takes data to get here to the satellite, to the ground station, back to the satellite, and back here to me. 36 milliseconds is really nice. Normal satellite-based internet is somewhere around generally 800 to 2,000 milliseconds. So this is a lot better. It's a lot better for responsiveness. It's definitely much better. I've tried gaming on a satellite connection before. You can't do it. You could, I guess, but it's not fun. So this is already looking a lot better tonight. My standard, the only internet I have available where I live in the mountains of Georgia, if I didn't get Starlink, which is what I used to have, is the 6 megabit per second AT&T DSL. So if you're sitting here right now with, say, a 60 megabit, 30 megabit connection, generally I try to tell people, like, you may want to just stick with it because Starlink isn't quite up to speed yet. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of times where it's way faster than that, where it's 150, 200 megabit per second, but also in the evenings, it might only be 4, 3, 7 megabit per second. So this was a 26 millisecond ping, 38.14 megabit per second download, 2.77 megabit per second upload. Not too bad. In case anybody's wondering, in order to stream 4K, you have to have about 5 megabit per second connection. To stream HDX, it's something like 1.5 megabit per second. And then SD is even lower than that. It's not even 1 megabit per second. So this is actually good enough speed to support, let's say, at least 4 people like browsing the internet and streaming TV at the same time. So we're going to leave it off here at 6:07. I'll be back right around 7 o'clock, somewhere around there. It'll be in the middle of the first quarter, at the end of the first quarter for the football game. Hey everyone, we are back. It is 6:59 right now, so we're going to go ahead and do it. I actually haven't even turned on the game yet. My team wasn't in this year, so I'm not horribly worried about this one, but I figure I'll watch a couple of them anyway, or a couple minutes. But the game is underway. 7 o'clock right now, so I'm curious to see how this is going to affect it. I can see it going one of two ways. Either everybody's at home and the internet is just going to be slammed, or the other way, everybody's out at a bar or wherever, and it's not near as bad as it usually is, but I'm not entirely sure. So that's what we're checking for right now. The first one is 48 milliseconds. We're going to do a series of 3 tests as normal. 21.15 megabit per second download, and actually pretty good 13.59 megabit per second upload. That was test number 1. I'm still using the SparkLight server there in Atlanta. Oh, this one's even better. Ooh, much better. That's coming down a little bit, but not too bad. Yeah, so SpaceX, by the way, I always forget to say, YouTube's algorithm goes off of likes, not necessarily subscribes, but likes and comments. And so if you guys could give me a thumbs up, that way it helps, it helps it get seen a little bit more than not, I guess. So this is the second test, 32 millisecond ping, 59.81 megabit per second download, 11.81 megabit per second upload. So it's doing really good. It's doing a lot better than I thought. However, I have noticed in the last 3 weeks it has gotten pretty well. We've gotten much better, especially on Sunday nights, because it used to be Sunday nights were almost unwatchable because it would go down to like 1.5 megabit per second. So like at this time, it would be down that low. And I have noticed it's been getting better and better. By the way, SpaceX knows, and they know that they are oversubscribed, because they didn't imagine so many people were going to sign up for the RV because they didn't have any limits on it, right? And so they know that they're oversubscribed, so they're not letting any new come out for right now until they get more satellites into the next shell. Which makes sense. So hopefully over the course of the next few months, for everybody that does have it, it should keep getting faster and faster and faster. And I've kind of noticed that. So the ping on this last one was 33 milliseconds. Download again 31.29, pretty reliable. And the upload was 11.68 megabit per second. So it's 7:02 right now. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it off there, and we'll be back probably right around 8 o'clock. Hey everybody, we are back, and it keeps changing the server on me. I'm gonna go back to the SparkLight server. There we go, and go ahead and run. It is 8:02 p.m. I'm 2 minutes late. So we're at 8:02 p.m. Ooh, that can't be right. There has to be something going on here, because that's basically saying that there's no internet at all, and I don't believe that. Especially not when our upload speed is like that. Hang on. Let's give this a shot again. Okay, not great, but okay. So it doesn't look like it's improved that much. If you remember me saying earlier, it used to be really bad. Now this is still better than what it has been in the past. I know that this looks horrendous, but there's been times where it wasn't even 1. And I don't know what happened that first time, but there's no way it was 0.15. We are streaming the game in the other room right now, so it is eating up a little bit of bandwidth, but hopefully not too much. So this first test is 8:03. This first test, 40 millisecond ping, 4.13 megabit per second download, 1.96 megabit per second upload. And that also goes back to what I said. If you have a 30 megabit connection, you'd probably be better off, through DSL or something, you'd probably be better off keeping it right now, because StarLink still has some issues. Now, probably for another 4 to 6 months, because they are launching more and more satellites all the time. Like, they're sending up 150 satellites a month, at least. But right now they're oversubscribed. They said they're oversubscribed, so they're working on it, but working on it and having it functional is not the same thing. So this is test number 2. It's 27 millisecond ping, 14.88 megabit per second download, 4.07 megabit per second upload speed. and we're going to do test number 3. Yeah, and if anybody doesn't know, just because they launch satellites doesn't mean they're in orbit. So all the satellites, yeah, it is really bad. Really bad. So they're launching satellites, but it takes, on average, I don't know for sure, but on average is 2 to 3 months is what it takes before they actually get into position and come online. So anything that from the stuff that they launched at the beginning of the beginning of December, they're probably coming online now, or in the next week or so. So just because they're launching things right now, and they had a little bit of a lull last year because they weren't getting their launch license for the new shell of satellites, which they are now. So they've been launching really heavy ever since then because their production, which is their satellite production, which is up in Washington, was still cranking those things out in their version 2.0s. Faster laser interconnectivity, all that good stuff, a bunch of bells and whistles on them that the generation 1s that everybody's using right now it didn't have. So this was the third one, 42 millisecond ping, 0.89 megabit per second download speed, which, yep, that's bad. That's real bad. And 1.26 megabit per second upload speed. So that was at 8 o'clock. So we'll be back at 9 o'clock to see if it has gotten any better. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm just a couple minutes late, it's 9:04. So let's get right into it. Still using the Sparklight server out of Atlanta. You can see SpaceX and StarLink is the service I'm using, obviously. Woo! And this hasn't been doing too well. Like I said, I've been watching the Super Bowl, and it's been playing just fine. It every once in a while kicks into a lower resolution, but then it comes right back. But man, these speeds make it seem like it should be really bad, but it hasn't been. Anyway, the ping here is 40 milliseconds, downloads 3.93 megabit per second. It looks like the upload is 1.89 megabit per second. That's the first one at 9 o'clock, 9:05 now. So it looks like this is pretty much standard. I don't know if there's any difference. I think it might be a little bit worse than normal Sunday night being the Super Bowl, but I don't know. Well, now this one's going up pretty decent. When I say decent, and if you're used to cable speeds, I know I get this in the comments all the time, like, oh yeah, my cable's a lot better. Like, yeah, okay, probably. That's not the point of Starlink. So, 35 millisecond ping, 24.25 megabit per second download, 5.86 megabit per second upload. By the way, the upload speeds have been getting better. They used to be terrible, like 1 to 2. Now, a lot of times, especially not in peak, it's 10 to 20, so it's doing a lot better. But yeah, to finish that thought, I understand that there's a lot of, if you have cable or even some faster types of DSL, you're going to have a better connection. If you're thinking about coming to Starlink because Starlink's going to be so much faster than your, 30 megabit per second DSL or your, 100 megabit per second cable, that's not true. It's not going to. You're going to be disappointed because it takes, before you even get set up the first time, it's going to cost you $600 for the satellite dish and 1 month service and blah blah blah, all that good stuff. So the ping is 60 milliseconds, and the download speed is 6.77 megabit per second. Upload is pretty close to that, 5.99. We're still slow, but everything is going just fine as well too. Like I'm streaming pretty well, football game. So, and by the way, guys, again, I forgot to mention this before. I did mention it, but I'll mention it again. If you don't want to subscribe, no problem, but shoot me a comment in here. By the way, if you want to see anything, just let me know in the comments as well. I respond to all my comments. So, hope everybody's having a good night. It's 9:07 now. I'll be back at 10 o'clock to do the next one. Hey everybody, welcome back again. It is 10:01, so we're going to go ahead and do another series of 3 here. Still the Sparklight server out of Atlanta. It's my favorite one. It seems to give the best average results. So, and the game's still going on. We're in the 4th quarter, if you're watching it right now. And the score is tied. So, not doing too bad. Look at that. The upload speed keeps getting better and better here on average. So the ping is 25 milliseconds, download is 5.62 megabit per second, and the upload looks like 5.23. So they're really close to the same. That was test number 1. Let's do test number 2 here. And I'm going to probably today or tomorrow, I'm going to be doing another video for for my grow house with the LED lights and all my stuff that's growing in there too. The citrus trees and red seedless grapes and lemons and all kinds of good stuff. This is working pretty well. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it's costing quite a bit to keep it warm and with everything on there, with the lighting and everything else like that. But it was a good experiment to run anyway. Let me see here. This one's 26 millisecond ping, 20 megabits per second download, and 4.3 megabit per second upload. That was test number 2. Let's do test number 3 here. And ooh, that ping was pretty bad for a second. No, and then this week I'm getting, if you watch my channel normally, I have a brand new setup that's coming in for pulling tree stumps, actually, but not the conventional way. I bet you've never seen somebody do it the way I'm going to do it. It's a series of winch cables and pulleys, and it should be pretty easy to do, so I don't have to dig them out or anything like that. I can pull them out. So this one, the ping is 74 milliseconds, downloads 2.3, pretty low, and the upload is 2.38, so actually the upload is a little bit faster than the download speed. That's kind of to be expected. This is not atypical to a Sunday night, especially Super Bowl Sunday night. Looks like everybody is at home this year watching the game instead of out somewhere. So that was 10 o'clock. I'll probably, actually, yeah, I'll come back at 11. I'll do the last one at 11 o'clock. Hey everybody, we are back for the last time. It is actually 11:12. I waited a little bit longer. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Not Windstream, stop changing it. Sparklight. There we go. And the Super Bowl is over. Kansas City Chiefs won. And I just watched everything that happened to SpaceX this last week. A lot of good stuff. And as you can see, the speed's, coming back to where it should be. So it is 11:13 p.m. Sunday night right now. The ping, and I'm going to do a series of 3 tests. The ping is 37 milliseconds with a 92.18 megabit per second download speed and right around a 5.55 megabit per second upload speed. So that was test number 1. Let's do test number 2. Move the mouse out of the way. And yeah, if you're paying attention, if you've been, like I said, I've had this for 6 months. It's gotten slower, it's gotten faster. It kind of, goes up and down. It seems like though for the last month, it's been steadily getting better. It doesn't get as fast at night, but during the peak times, it remains faster. So this one, the ping is 38 milliseconds, the download is 22.59 megabit per second, and the upload is 5.54 megabit per second. Let's do the very last test here. By the way, we'll bring up that they still haven't implemented any type of the tiered access yet for, they said that they're going to add it in December and they didn't. Then they said February and they didn't. Now they're saying March. So you only get, 1 terabyte every month of, priority access, and then it goes down to basic access. Basic access is basically what I have. It's best effort. So, but they haven't actually implemented it yet. They said they were going to, and they keep pushing it back. So, I think most people probably don't know that though. But anyway, this last test, 27 millisecond ping, 19.63 megabit per second download, 2.21 megabit per second upload. That's much better than my other alternative to connection I have, which is a 6 megabit per second DSL. So we're going to leave it off there. I'm probably going to do another one during the week. Like I said, I try to do one at least every other week. Sometimes I do 2 or 3 in a weekend or something like that, or during the week. So, keep coming back here, subscribe if you're interested. If you're like, $600, $640, whatever it is, the initial investment. If you're like, it's a little bit too much, for the speeds, which I get. Another misconception here is $110 a month, and Tesla not Tesla, but SpaceX just went over, or I'm sorry, StarLink just went over 1 million subscribers at $110 a month. So that's $110 million a month that they're generating right now. Now that sounds like a lot, but that barely pays for the launches that they're doing of the satellites. That just pays for actually putting them in outer space, right? It doesn't count for any of the any of the materials, the satellites themselves, the cost to put satellites together, the cost to actually actually it does come up with the cost to launch them, but not to actually truck them to where they need to and all that good stuff. So we're gonna leave it up there. I'm gonna have quite a few more videos, not just Starlink related, in the next probably 2 weeks or so. So anyway, if you could subscribe, like, share, helps out with my visibility. So hope everybody had a good weekend, and we will see you next time.